Welcome to the post-pregame coverage of Friday's MAC semifinal games coming up here shortly. We're about an hour away from the first game of the evening, which is Akron versus Kent State. Definitely two local favorites here squaring off at the Q, Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland, Ohio. Mike Stainbrook here, sports editor of the Post, alongside assistant sports editor Rob Ogden. We'll be bringing you action throughout the night from the sidelines. Probably leave everyone with a little bit of a pregame video, though, as the Bobcats are about 3 hours away from tip-off at this point. We'll await the winner of Akron and Kent State in the final tomorrow if Ohio can handle the game against Buffalo later this evening. Ohio beat Buffalo twice this season, but again, Rob, as sort of the common thing goes, it's a wild conference, and then anything goes in tournament time.
Yeah, definitely. The key here for the Bobcats, trying to beat Buffalo for the third time this season, that's definitely going to be tough. They beat them at home, beat them on the road. Now, will they be able to beat them on a neutral floor? That's going to be the big question coming in tonight. How will Ohio's bigs go up against the deadly duo of MAC Player of the Year, Mitchell Watt, and his ringman, Javon McCray?
Yeah, McCray was MAC Freshman of the Year a year ago, and really anchored a unit that has been phenomenal at rebounding all game long, all season long, I should say. And Ohio has really been the only MAC team that's had any legitimate success against Buffalo on the board. So Ohio won the rebounding battle in both games during the regular season. No other MAC opponent did that once during the regular season. So Buffalo has been riding a pretty healthy, good rebounding streak that's led to a lot of second chance points. Got a lot of points to the paint for Buffalo that way, and that really just creates a situation that is unfavorable for anyone that Buffalo plays.
Yeah, rebounding is always huge for the Bobcats. It's that and defense is their bread and butter, and especially going to be big in this game, going up against one of the top rebounding teams in the country.
Yeah, and as you said, Rob, the big players for Ohio are going to be critical in this game. Reggie Keeley's had some turnover troubles lately. Wasn't really able to shake it off against Toledo last night at the Q. And Ivo Baltic really needs to attack the rim more. Saw him opt for a couple fadeaway jumpers instead yesterday. Coach Gross and a lot of his teammates not really happy with that yesterday. Coach Gross called out his big guys in the press conference yesterday after the game. Really asked them to step up their game today because that's going to be the key against Buffalo. Also can't ignore the three-point presence of Buffalo. Zach Wilson's plan for his collegiate life as a senior here at the Q, looking for a tournament title to be his first. Meanwhile, Ohio's trying to get back to the final against Akron here.
Yeah, all these things are going to be huge in this game, especially going up against a team that can shoot it in the paint as well on the outside. That's one thing that Gross stresses. When they face Miami, they kind of have that post inside-out presence. That's definitely going to be big going up against Buffalo that can score from inside and outside in this game.
And this will also be a good measure about the new MAC tournament seeding as well. Buffalo with the 2 seed has not played the last 5 days or so. Coming in this game, maybe a little bit cold, maybe a little bit rusty. All depends on those first 5 or 10 minutes for Buffalo. Ohio, meanwhile, shook off any rust in the first half yesterday. Not incredible first half for the Bobcats, but they went to the locker room with a lead at halftime, 2-point lead, and ended up extending that with an 11-0 run to start the second half against Toledo, and ultimately pulled away from the Rockets and reached a victory in both in the semifinals.
And in the first 2 games today, on the women's side of the bracket, we saw top-seeded Bowling Green go down. It was their first game. They were the first team to go through the 3-game bye. They did not make it past their first game. In the next game, second-seeded Eastern Michigan did win their game, but they had to come back. They seemed a little rusty throughout the game, so we'll see how Buffalo handles the 3-game bye.
And one of the things that really helped Ohio out yesterday was Toledo's inability to pull away in the early minutes. Ohio only managed 3 points in the first 8 minutes of the game, but Toledo only had 8. So Ohio was horrible shooting, 1 for 14 in the first 8 minutes, but only trailed by 5 entering the second media timeout. Really not a bad situation to be in as far as Ohio goes, just from the way that it had performed early in the first half yesterday. I really can't be much more thankful for them just to be down 5 points after a start like that. And as we saw, the Bobcats were able to respond from that sort of lackluster start, and we were able to pick up the W yesterday. And as I said, Rob, really interesting to see how Buffalo responds today. I think the big key for Ohio is going to be starting strong in those first 5 to 10 minutes. Ohio has been mostly a second half team for most of the year, but a good first half today would really create some space against Buffalo. Sort of how Kent State did that against Ohio a couple weeks ago with a strong first half, and Ohio came back in the second half, but really by that time was too far gone.
Yeah, after the game yesterday, Walter Offit talked about, trying to get used to the new gym. It was the first time on this floor for them this season. He said that takes a little bit of time to adjustment, to just getting the settings and everything, the background on the rim, so that's something that they want to capitalize on facing Buffalo when they haven't played on this floor yet this season.
Top 4 teams in the tournament all playing today. Any team that has played in the first 2 rounds is all gone. 5th through 12th seeds no longer a factor in this tournament. Kent State and Ohio both won games after having a double bye yesterday. Akron and Buffalo playing their first games today. And really this is what the MAC sort of was looking for. Obviously the MAC wants a strong competitor out of the conference. And ironically, the last team to win a game in the NCAA tournament out of the conference was number 9 seed Ohio 2 years ago. But at the same time, the mentality is keep the good teams fresh, enable them to win the tournament by playing 2 or 3 games instead of 4 or 5, and then really allow that conference representative to make a good showing in the NCAA tournament. It appears from the way that the year unfolded that these 4 teams were the best in the conference for most of the year. Akron was number 1 in the MAC pretty much the entire stretch. On the 2nd seed Buffalo overcame Ohio at the end of the season. Kent State was a steady 3 and 4 for most of the year. So really the best the MAC can hope for as far as a quality NCAA tournament opponent still playing here at the MAC tournament, and 2 games away from a berth in the Big Dance.
Yeah, we were talking about this last night. It's really maybe the best case scenario for the MAC. You got whoever believes the top 4 teams in the semifinals. You got the dream matchup between Kent State and Akron, and then Ohio and Buffalo who can will go at it for the 3rd time this season. And not only that, but you have 4 teams in fairly close vicinity to Cleveland, so we should see some good fan bases out tonight.
Yeah, I definitely think that this is going to be probably the highest attended day of the conference tournament so far. With Kent State and Akron both within an hour of Cleveland easily. Kent State had a decent showing from the fan base yesterday. Looking for an even higher turnout today. And Akron also, even though right in the same vicinity as Kent, not much farther from Cleveland. Lots of fans expected to show up today. And Ohio had a decent fan contingent yesterday, looking to duplicate that or maybe expand upon that today. Ohio fans were behind the scorers table on the other side of the queue yesterday. They'll be behind Rob and I tonight at the 9:30 game. And then sort of the wild card as far as fans go is Buffalo. Buffalo's about 3.5 hours from Cleveland, which really isn't too much closer or farther than Ohio. But it'll be interesting to see how the Bulls fan base travels. And they could end up being a factor in this game as well. But the summer should be a great night from the queue. 1 versus 4, and then 2 versus 3, with the winners meeting each other on ESPN2 Saturday nights for a trip to the NCAA tournament. Rob, what's your prediction in this one?
I picked Buffalo in the paper. I'm going to have to stick with that. I was beaten twice this year. I just don't know if we'll be able to beat them for a 3rd time. We'll see if they can prove me wrong, though.
I picked Ohio. I think Ohio is going to be able to finish the 3-peat against Buffalo this year. They had a tough situation going into Buffalo. Buffalo had already played Ohio, knew that Ohio could rebound Buffalo, knew that Ohio had some dangerous shooters, and the defense wasn't working for Buffalo. Also got out-rebounded on its own floor. I thought the Bobcats winning this one by about 6. That'll do it for us for the pre-game video podcast. So everyone's able to catch the game on TV, online, or at least with us at Pro Sports. We'll have constant updates throughout the game, as well as our live club going here as we get close to game time. Kent State versus Akron in the early game in the night cup. Buffalo versus Ohio should be some good action from the queue. So let's see how it goes. And as always, follow sports for all your latest Ohio Bobcats and the American Conference basketball coverage.